Fear of embarrassment. This is one of the main things that stops us from progressing. You need to understand that fear of embarrassment comes from caring about too much what people think. And this tends to be the case where we say that we care about ourselves more than just a random stranger that we don't know about. Yet we care more about their opinion than about ours. That's what makes us unhappy, because we're so concerned of not doing something that we want to do because what someone else might think. And that's a problem. We become prisoners to others. The person that tries to keep everyone happy makes himself unhappy, and he's a prisoner to all. And I remember when I was living in a Chinese takeaway, what I used to do, I used to hide. I did not want anyone to see me when I was leaving this Chinese takeaway. When I had to go to school, I'd always try to leave 10 minutes earlier from the time I had to leave, and I'd get to school half an hour earlier just to make sure I didn't see anyone, because I didn't want to be judged. I didn't want people to have an opinion. And that was in reality just running away from the actual problem, because I didn't want to face it. I didn't want people to laugh at me. I didn't want people to judge me. I didn't want people to have an opinion. So what did I do? I became hidden. I hid myself from God. But you need to understand that doesn't solve the problem. I remember those times when I used to get back from school. There was the Chinese restaurant. Like, you go to the Chinese restaurant and we would have the shutter, the gate. And the worst thing was, sometimes I would try to leave school as quickly as possible, because if I left as quickly as possible, by the time I got there still wouldn't be much kids around, so I could get there with no problem. Or I'd leave so late that I'll get to the point where there's no kids, or the shop would be open by that time. But then that also got to a point where I would get there and all the kids were around. So I remember I used to open this shop, and because you have to put the key in for the shutter to come up, I used to have my head down while the shutter was coming up. And I remember I was just like, these seconds are taking forever, because in that point my mind wasn't in anything else. It was just thinking, what are these people thinking about me? It even got to a point where I would go all the way around the shop. I would go through another place. I would jump over the wall and go into the house through the back, just so no one can see. That is what happens when you care about people's opinions, because you're not facing the problem. And that's the thing, the very thing that you want is on the other side of that thing that you don't want to do. And that's what I needed to understand. And for many years, I didn't face a problem, and that translated over to my adulthood. You need to understand that from when you have that trauma and you continue life, you always have that same feelings from when you got that trauma. So when I was working 2 jobs, I ended up working in a retail shop, and I was doing delivery at the same time when I was delivering food on my bicycle. And I was working in this retail place from like 8 in the morning till 5 in the afternoon, and from 5 in the afternoon till like 11 o'clock at night. And I was doing these jobs, and I remember like I would be very, very shy when I was talking to people, and I wasn't the best when it came to confrontation, because when it came to confrontation, the first thing that came into my head is, what is this person thinking about me? And I did not want conflict, because I did not want to be judged. And why does that come to? It goes back to the point where I was in a Chinese takeaway and I was living underneath the shop and people would judge me. So then, when I was doing delivery, I was working till like 11 PM. Then I started to go to the gym. I started to educate myself, go to the gym. I got this course. I started to educate myself how to go to the gym. But there was one thing that was missing. I did not know how to eat. I didn't know anything about macros. I didn't know anything about proteins. I didn't know anything about carbs. I didn't know anything about fats. And sometimes you don't know things, and sometimes you have this arrogance, this ego that doesn't allow you to speak to people because you don't want to be judged, or you're too scared about what that might think of you. They might think that you're stupid. But there's a saying, the person that asks a question is a fool for a moment, but the person that asks no question will be a fool for a lifetime. So if you don't know, get rid of the arrogance and look for the solution. It's very simple. We overcomplicate everything. There's a problem, there's a solution. You speak about the problem, so now you've got 2 choices. You either solve the problem, or you either find the solution, or you stay with the problem. Most of the time people bring up a problem. You bring the solution and they want to talk about, no, but more problems, then more problems. Do the solution and that's it. Once you've done the solution, another problem comes up, then you solve that problem as well. How? With another solution. Don't create more problems to give you an excuse to why you can't solve that problem, because you dig yourself in a hole and you try to make yourself feel better for not doing something that you're meant to do, when in reality all you have to do is do it. Just act. This goes with anything. And we try to hide ourselves. No, I couldn't do this because of that. I couldn't do this because of that. Why haven't you tried? Oh, I tried but this. When many people say they try, did you actually try? Because temporary defeat is completely different to failure. When you do things, you will fail, you will be temporarily defeated very, very often. You go to the gym, you don't know how to lift weights, that's a temporary defeat, you need to go and learn. You don't know about macros, you need to go and learn. You don't know how to target each muscle group, that's another failure, that's another temporary defeat. You don't know how to build muscle, that's another temporary defeat. What do? If you don't decide to take an action to overcome these hurdles, to educate yourself, to act upon it, to change your routine, to change your diet, these become failures. Who decides if it's a failure? Is you. Why? Because you have to constantly try again. It's like when you were a baby and you were learning to walk. That's like saying if you started to walk and you dropped once, are you going to give up? No, because consistently, repetition, you learn how to walk, and now it makes you the person that you are today. So that's why you need to constantly continue until you get the result that you want. Because if not, you accept that failure as a person that you are, and you will live a very miserable life because you know that you didn't try and you live with regret. So I was working in retail, and I was working as an Uber Eats driver. Pretty much I was covered, just working. From around 10, 11, I would go to the gym and I'll be there for a few hours, then I'll repeat the same day again and again. I didn't know how to eat. And I remember one day I was working in retail and a guy came in. I remember his name was Steven Rosario. Steven Rosario came in, he was like some big dude. He came into the store and he wanted to buy some clothes. And we started talking, and at that point I was very nervous. The kid with the trauma, with the fears came out again when I wanted to speak to him, because I saw he was big, so he had something that I wanted. If someone has something that you want, if someone lives the way that you want to live, or someone has the information that you need, what do? You ask questions. But why don't people ask questions? Because they're the fear of embarrassment, because they're scared to look stupid, because of their ego. If you're scared to look stupid, it's because of your ego. So I was in this space, and I saw him. I was like, this guy knows what he's talking about. Then he started talking about that he was in a men's health magazine, that he was like a pro bodybuilder for many years. He was getting a surgery done on his knee because he had been lifting weights for so long. And I had just started my fitness journey, and I was like, I want to ask this guy about what should I eat. And I was like, I don't want to bother this person. I don't want to waste his time. But then you need to understand. You need to ask yourself, if I don't ask him, I don't get the information. So that's a straight no. But if I ask him, it becomes 50-50, because he can say yes or he can say no. But if you don't ask a question, you have closed the door off completely. I was like, you know what? Let me come out of myself. Let me push myself, and I'm going to ask him. I asked him, hey, you've been training for years. Could you tell me about macros, or could you teach me about how I can eat? He took his time. He gave me his number. We started to speak, and he educated me and he coached me for some time, telling me, you need to eat this, ask him that. He told me what I needed to eat. How did that happen? How did I get to that point? Because I had to go past that fear of embarrassment to speak to him, to get what I wanted. That's what you need to do. You need to let go of your arrogance, let go of your ego, to be able to ask these questions to get to where you want to be. And that's how you do it. The very thing you don't want to do, on the other side of that, is the results that you want, the results that you need. You wanna lose some weight, but you don't want to eat food, you find it hard. The second you drop that, you get what you want. You're scared of speaking in front of the camera. You speak in front of the camera, you get what you want. That's exactly how you do it. So this is why this is the importance of understanding and pushing yourself and getting uncomfortable. Being comfortable, getting uncomfortable. Come out of that comfort zone. Do something that's in congruence with what you want, in congruence with your purpose. That's why you have to be in alignment. I keep on talking about alignment. Make sure that your purpose, that thing that you want to achieve, is aligned with your thoughts. Everything that might come with what you want, how to do it. Ask yourself questions. You need to start thinking, and your actions, everything that you thought about, I need to do this. Don't just say you need to do it, you do it. And that's how you overcome that fear of embarrassment. That's how you overcome the first hurdles. That's how you start to get closer to the person you want to become. So you need to focus on that. And that's how you have to do. If you need help with any of this, if you don't know, look for someone that can teach you. If you need help with getting in shape, if you need help with your macronutrients, if you've been going to the gym and you've got no results, if that's been frustrating you, you haven't been able to do it, there's something that you're missing. Stop wasting time. Message me on Instagram, DM me 100, and we'll get to work and get you to become the person that you want to become. With that being said, leave a like, subscribe, comment, and I'll see you in the next episode. Let's go.